Okay, so it should be recording now. First off, thank you guys for all taking time out of your Friday to meet. We're gonna try to set this up. I just wanted to do this because I know Michelle and I were talking, and I was gonna have her try to like edit some videos for some of the data that we're working on. But she hasn't been trained on it. So I reached out to Connor, and then Connor said he also hadn't been trained. So I was like, well, this would probably be something good for all of you guys to know. We do a lot in NVIVO and in Adobe Premiere. So we'll be mostly training you guys on that or on those. I know Jonathan has some stuff to present to you guys, and I guess so does Jason. So we're gonna try to do this, I assume maybe just for like an hour today, but we're gonna do it like, we're gonna do a few different meetings. So I think right now I had just assumed maybe we'll just kind of knock it out and do like an hour this Friday, maybe an hour next Friday, and maybe the next if we need it. But we're gonna record these so that you guys, like everyone will have this as a resource and a tool. And we'll put it on Box and share it just so that anyone in the lab will have access to it. Or if you guys need to use it as a reference, like if you forget how to do something, then you'll have this as a step-by-step kind of guide for editing audio and video and combining videos and all of that. And it'll be good for the undergrads. It's also good like for some of the stuff I don't know how to do either. So it's, you know, teaching me. And, you know, a lot of this Jonathan only figured out, he didn't know how to do it either. He figured out how through like Google and trial and error, a lot of trial and error. So hopefully we'll skirt around some of that for you guys, and you won't have to do quite as much research because we'll be able to teach you and future like PhD students even. So with that, I guess, Jonathan, do you want to start out? Do you have...
Yeah, what should we start with? Should we start with the NVIVO stuff? Because that's kind of easy. Like,
sure. Yeah. I think, yeah, too, because that's a lot of, you guys know how to use or like create transcripts already. I know we've used Otter AI. That'll do 3 free transcripts. And then I know that Jason, you're a big fan of OTranscribe. I don't really like OTranscribe, I'm gonna be honest, but I like Otter AI. I wish there was like more that could just like do it for you, and then you just go back and double check. If you guys have any resources that you know of that are like free transcriptions that like at least do a preliminary one, and then you like go back and just correct all the changes, like y'all should share those amongst each other.
Connor, did you do something where you would use Otter for like a first pass, and then but then you would edit, you would like then load that, but Otter's really bad for actually editing and fixing stuff, right? So you would then load it into OTranscribe or something, or like...
No, so I've only ever used OTranscribe, and I've just kind of knocked it out like piece by piece, and then afterwards, if I was like not sure about some stuff, I'd run through it again. But I have not used Otter before.
Okay.
Well,
Who was saying that? Because like Otter's
I think that was
nice,
me.
but it's terrible to edit with. Like, maybe
yeah, Otter AI is not like, it's not the best, and it has like it does have like a high error rate, but what it does is it puts like 80% of the words on the page for you,
yeah,
which
is nice.
Is like it gets you like most of the way done. It'll do like a preliminary one, and then all you have to do is like look at the transcription, like play the audio and go back through yourself and like correct the changes. But like then you're kind of just reading along and only stopping when there is a mistake. And then, you know, editing it where you have like the time chunks and like all of that, like you do still have to do that. But I know Otter AI at least does 3 for free, and then I'm not sure after that. So if you haven't used your 3 and you've got like a really long transcript, like audio, like video, whatever file.
Well, and somebody on the team, like Mark has like a Otter subscription too. So if you need, yeah. So, but
yeah, so you guys have all been trained on like how to do the transcriptions, and I think that's mostly what we use NVIVO for, is like syncing the transcriptions to the videos. So yeah,
Yeah,
we can
it's not
skip and do
super
that.
helpful, but let me at least like go over quickly like how to do it. I probably need to do some sort of screen share thing, don't I?
Yeah, I think you should be able to you should, I think I said it, you should be able to share now.
Okay, I'm just gonna share everything. Can y'all see this? Okay, so then I go into NVIVO. Which I apparently should have loaded.
Also, feel free, like as we're going through this, like all of it, feel free to ask questions, like if there's something that you've run into or like problems that you've had. Because I know like Jason and Connor, you guys have had the most probably interaction with this type of data, like editing and all that. But like even y'all, I think there's stuff that you haven't encountered yet. And those of you who have not had to do much video editing or any video editing at all, feel free to ask any and all questions.
Oh, it's actually loading. Okay, that's nice. This is part of why I don't like NVIVO. It's just taking its sweet, sweet time.
Are you on your big computer or your
Yes.
personal one?
The big one. Hey, okay. I mean, I should probably do that, but we're gonna do new project. I don't know, test or something. 101. Sure. Yeah,
Call
usually.
it demo. Call it demo.
Okay.
Just so we don't like get
Demo.
you don't get confused. No.
All right. And then autosave. Yeah, notice that you want to leave it on no so that it will actually autosave. And then, yeah, okay, create project. It's actually going to let me do this. Yeah, no, I don't. No, leave me alone. All right, so then if I'm going to import a file, which in this case is going to be a video, and then I'm going to, where's my pilot here? Yeah, let's just do this thing. All right, and then I just want 101 and 102. I'm going to import it. So you import the file, but you do not import the transcript.
While this is loading, which one of y'all, like how many of y'all have NVIVO on your computers? Jason, you do? Connor, do you?
I thought I did, but I'm looking at it right now and I don't, so I'm reinstalling it right now.
Okay.
And then if you have a Windows machine, sometimes you need to like install this other thing, which I have written down somewhere about how to actually do that, but
Michelle and Mary, do you guys have NVIVO?
I do not, because most of the work that I've been asked to do has nothing to do with transcribing. It's
Mhm.
mostly just observing the videos and just use the transcripts that y'all make for them to input the data of the answers for the kids, you know, like their movements and their why they think it's true and their, you know.
Okay. Well, this might be a good tool just for you to have. Like it's free through like SMU. You can ask OIT to push it through onto your computer. You'll just tell them I need NVIVO and they'll say, what's your ID? And you'll give it to them and then they can put it onto your computer. Same for you, Michelle. But anyways, go ahead,
I have
John.
it on my work computer. Oh, but
okay, so I think you go into, is it edit mode? Oh, yeah, you go to edit mode. So you're in video and then you had, did y'all see how I did that? I probably need to go back. So like I was over here and then I had to like, I think it was over here. So I had to hit this little guy here and then go to edit. All right, which, oh, that turned it off. All right. All right, I'm in edit and then I do import rows. And then I look for the file and then it's going to be like whatever the name is, which is I guess like V2 or something. I don't know. Where is that? No, this one's more recent. Okay. Yep, there it is. All right. And then you have to like tell it like specifically what it is. So I'm going to create one transcript row for each, Yeah, or no, table row. No, don't do that. Don't do that. What are you doing? Okay, table row, because it's in a table. Okay, file includes identifier column. Did we give it an identifier column on this? I don't think so. But it does have a header row. And then this one, the first thing is the time span. And then the next one is the content. Why is that doing that weird? No, can't even see this. Just guessing at this point. No. What the heck? Sorry, like that's weird. Okay. The menu was showing me over my Zoom stuff. All right, so then notice, yeah, then that's it. And then you're just like done. And then if you scroll over here, like it's got the times and then the content like already in there. And then it's for each conjecture and everything.
So the reason we do this too is so that if you're like going back and you see each conjecture and you just want to look at like the parallelogram, you can scroll down and just click this like column or row 2 and it'll just play that like minute and 40 seconds rather than having to like go through and look at every single like line or watch the entire video and try to fast forward. If Jonathan were to click like row 2, then the video would just play where it picked up from, like it would pick up from just there. Or row 4 or whatever. Like you can separate it out by row.
Oh, and it's not doing that right now because I'm in edits and I have to get out of edits.
Or
That's the problem. Once I get out of edits and then I do that, I was like, wait, why isn't it doing the thing?
You click play. You have to click play up at the top.
Yeah.
Then it'll just play like from there, like that section, like that row. Well, theoretically, except actually it doesn't look like it's doing that.
Yeah, it's really not. That's fun. This is why I don't like NVIVO. So, but that is how to do it. And that's part of the reason why we structure the transcripts the way we do is that so that it like fits into NVIVO like it does. So any questions about this? Like, or what questions do you have? Like, sometimes it's finicky. If you have problems like with the video, like reach out to me. There are some things that you might need to do, but so sure, I will save that. Why not? Okay. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is Handbrake. All right, so if you go to, I don't know, I mean, honestly, you just Google it. It's free software somewhere. I mean, this is like from CNET, and it's just called Handbrake. It convert videos with various codecs to make them compatible on your devices. It's like an open source. Anyway, and the reason why is for the iPad. This is for the iPad videos. So the iPad videos, like most streaming, actually like records at what's called a variable frame rate, which means that sometimes it has more frames for. And do y'all know what a frame is? This is mine. You know, it's like the still shot like of each. Anyway, so the speed at which like screen recordings are done changes, hence the variable frame rate, which is different from movies or television or whatever, which has a constant frame rate. And why that actually matters is, I mean, for internet stuff, it makes sense to do a variable frame rate because sometimes you want to slow down or go faster or whatever. But when it comes to editing video, like you want a constant frame rate, and Adobe Premiere is designed basically only for the constant frame rate. Like it does not handle the variable frame rate well, like at all. So what you want to do, and then so basically and it doesn't convert them either. Like I don't really understand that. So basically so this software just does it. But it is kind of finicky. So assuming, you download it. Is somebody chatting?
Yeah, Jason put in the chat that if you have a Mac, that he thinks that's the link. So if you guys have Macs and you need this or you don't have it, go ahead and download it. Or you can Google it, I guess, as well.
When I downloaded, yeah.
Who of you guys have Adobe Premiere? That's another question to ask. Connor, you have it? Mary, Michelle, Jason, do y'all have it? Jason has it. Michelle, Mary, do y'all have it?
I do not have it.
Do you, Michelle?
Yeah, I just got it.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, if you have a work laptop, you can actually just go to this, and then you go to one, it's like Creative Cloud, and then like download it or whatever from Creative Cloud. And then if you ever sometimes need stuff, you can go to Ivanti Portal Manager, and then that's like another way. I think that's how you get the software.
Yeah, but I don't, that would, it matters whether or not they're administrators of their computers, which they probably aren't. So you probably have to message OIT, but they have like a chat, and you can just say, same as trying to get NVIVO, you just message them and say, I need the Adobe, like Adobe Cloud, Adobe Premiere, all of that. And they'll again ask you for your ID, and then they can push it through onto your computer, and then you'll have to go to that like Avanti manager, like the Avanti portal, and you'll see it there, and then you'll click on it under that. Do you want to pull that up really quickly, Jonathan? The Avanti.
Yeah.
So if you go to the Avanti management, and then you click on the portal manager, there's this list of the things that are downloaded onto your computer, and you'll see it'll say complete or installed under status. So it would say like pending, I think, and you would click on it, and then on the right hand side there would be a like a bar, and you'll just click install, and it'll install. Or you might be able to get, if you call OIT, they can take like control of your computer screen. You can set up like a connection with them, and they can like control your mouse, and they'll download it for you.
That's a good point.
Get with OIT. They'll help you.
Like when you like download Handbrake and install it, if you're installing it on this machine as opposed to your own, you might have to like reach out to them and be like, hey, I need to install this for work. And then they might just straight up give you, because if you do that enough, they'll just be like, let me just give you admin access, and which is nice. So
but they're super easy. If you don't have any of these downloaded, OIT is great. They're super helpful. You'll just message them and just say straight up, like, I need these, and they'll say, okay. It's that simple. So
yeah,
if you don't have those yet, maybe you could probably even do it today, like before, like once we get off this call, because it'll be before 5, you could get it downloaded today so that you could start on it like next week or whenever it is that you need these. But anyways, back to Handbrake.
All right, so what you want to do is you want the pass through. That's true. There's there's the dimensions. This is, sometimes it might do weird dimensions because it's the iPad thing, but just kind of leave that. We'll fix it in post. And then yeah, oh, when you go to the video, okay, this is the thing, is you want not peak frame rate, you want constant frame rate. Okay, like that's the one you got to do. Okay, and then constant quality. Otherwise, if it doesn't say constant frame rate, like it's gonna like change it and stuff, and that's not, nope. Okay, right, Jason, Connor, right? Okay, I'm just trying to like that's the one, that's like the most important button, is like the constant frame rate. If you don't do that, like Premiere will get very mad at you. I don't really understand why, but yeah. And then that's, I think there was there one other tweak that you have to do? Like,
yeah, there is. I'm pulling it up online because I have like a preset made.
Yeah, I thought what's nice is like once you get it set, you can just save it as a preset, which is really nice. So
I'm pulling it up now so I can give you the other one. Handbrake, and then I'm just going to use when I
the dimension
on earlier. So format MP4, and then you have for the video.
Oh, it was MP4, because every once in a while it won't be an MP4, and you need to make sure that it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then yeah, same as source, constant frame rate, and then I'm outside the MP4 CFR, same as source, and then
where's the same as source?
it should be not there, but next to the constant frame rate. Should be same as source or something. Yeah, same as source.
Oh, that's the one. Yes. Yeah. That's right.
And I
Otherwise,
think
if
outside
you
of
put
that,
30, it will mess with you. That's
Yep.
good catch. Okay. All right. So then that's how, and then you just like, once that's ready, then you literally just hit start in code and it will like, it takes like a little while to do it, but it'll do it. So, and then you just upload that file. And if you do it wrong, honestly, like Premiere won't work. And so it's like, oh, so just try something else. Like when you re-encode it, which is what I had to do to figure, that's how I had to figure out the save as source thing. Yeah. So, okay. And yeah. And again, if you don't like it, just, you can't, basically what'll happen is if you get this wrong, when you start making the iPad video, like stuff just won't work. And you're like, wait, why is this? That's especially if you forget to change the 30, because you'll be like, wait, why is this video not syncing? Or I synced it at the beginning and then it's like drifting out of sync. Like, why is it doing that? And that's why. Yeah. In case you can't tell, this is from experience.
Which is syncing is another thing we should go over.
Yeah, Jason's gonna do that. So
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically it on that.
So then this would be like the done iPads, like iPad video for this, like use Handbrake, which Michelle, you'll need to know.
Oh yeah, and then we like to say that once you finish this, like name the file, like put CFR in the name, so that then we know that like, oh, somebody like did the constant frame rate when you upload this. All right. So then, and then in the box, like you'll oftentimes have to like for a pair video collection or whatever, which is like all the things that you're going to have to combine. Like I like to take the raw video files from like the various parts, and then just for the number of subjects, for like if it's, I don't know, like 301 and 302 or whatever, you just take every video from them and just put them in one folder. And then all of those are not just the raw files, but it's just like it's ready to go in Premiere. So if it's a part 1, part 2, those are meshed together maybe. Or if it's like, it's the CFR for the iPad or whatever. So you're just kind of ready to go. It's all the stuff to do before Premiere. So I think that's all I really have to say about that. Before I turn it over to Jason, I do want to say that like, one of the things that was really hard for me in learning Premiere is that I didn't really like, it's a pretty complex, if you've never worked with it, it's an amazing piece of software, but it's a very intimidating piece of software. And so like, I highly, highly, highly recommend like watching some videos of like, just like general introduction, you know, like a 1 or 2 hour, just like basic introduction to Premiere to just get you used to like how they kind of think about things, what all the little weird, because otherwise you're going to, because when you see it the first time, it's pretty overwhelming. It's because there's like 12 different windows and stuff. And I know that sounds weird, but like basically what that means is that for me, at least before I did that, I didn't know what to Google. I didn't know how to Google, and I couldn't figure out how to like fix what I needed or knew what I needed or what it was called or anything like that. I was totally clueless. And then I watched like a couple of videos on that stuff, like just broad overview. And I was like, oh, so I should Google for this weird little thing and stuff like that. So
I think they have like little tutorial videos for you guys in Adobe Premiere as well. Also, YouTube exists and is great. But I know like NVIVO has training videos. I watched them all. And then at the end of it was like, I learned nothing and I still don't know how to use anything.
yeah, I don't think the NVIVO videos, that's
It
why,
was
honestly,
so-
I don't know.
It
And
was
the
so
Premiere
like
ones,
technical and like high that I was like, huh? And I was like, when would I even use any of this? And like, what is important? And like, what are all these names? So I would not suggest doing that for NVIVO because there's like 52 YouTube videos and I watched them all and it was a waste of time. So don't do that.
yeah, which is why, you can
for-
get lost in that stuff, but I'm talking about like find a good like overview of Premiere.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what
you
I'm
know,
saying.
like
It's just
that's,
like
yeah, don't get
they
lost in
have
the weeds of, like,
some little like tutorial videos, I think, in Adobe Premiere, and they're actually pretty helpful. And you can like, it'll teach you how you can like crop videos, and I think you can like help tune audio, like improve audio in Adobe Premiere as well. But I'm sure we'll get there, and if we don't cover it today, we'll cover it like next week or the next week.
all right,
But
Jason, you're up.
you go, Jason.
okay, so we screen share. I'm assuming you want me to do Adobe Premiere.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. We talked about this, right? The you're gonna like show how to put together an iPad thing and sync it and all that stuff.
Okay, so if you'll let me interact with it. For some reason, it's like locked. I don't know why. Like, I'm okay. Oh, there. Okay, I'm back. It for some reason it opened a new screen, so I have to change it, the screen share again. Okay, so after you hit new project, it's gonna take you to this screen, and it's basically access to all the files you may have in your computer. So there's gonna be the basic desktop, home, wherever. And you wanna go, well, for me, I have all of the work files. I have my desktop under a certain folder, but regardless of where the location is, you're gonna
All right,
go
and
to the,
timeout. And generally, like you'll want to download this stuff from Box onto your local machine. Like, and frankly, anytime you're like working with stuff, like I don't know, I found that like trying to do video from Box is just worthless, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You want to download all of it beforehand. So if you're doing like a sync, for example, make sure that any component that's going to be part of your sync you have downloaded ahead of time. And that way you want to go back to Box or rely on Box for any files, you know, throughout the editing process. And so I already did 319, 320, so I'll use that as an example. That's one of the iPad ones since I already have the files on my computer. So you want to make sure that you hit the folder, like double click it instead of hitting it once. Yeah, that's an old folder. Because if you do that, it's going to select the entire folder, as you can see, which that's generally fine if you only have the correct amount of files or the correct files. However, if you need extras or multiple types of videos for the same component of a sync, for example, if you're working with an iPad footage and you have both the original footage from the iPad as well as the constant frame rate additional one, it's better just to select it. And another thing that kind of not ruins, but is affected if you do the whole folder is it might mess up the formatting as well, because you want to have all of your syncs have a consistent frame rate, and the initial file you pick will actually determine the like the dimensions of the video. So as you can see from this one, this is a these are two different forgetting the word dimensions. And so if I click this one, for example, a much wider video, it's going to have the entire sync and all of the video in those dimensions with a much wider dimension than we want. So you want to make sure that the first video you add to your folder has the same dimensions as what you want from your sync. So in this case, I would do Cam A. And you want to be conscientious of what video you're picking for an iPad, for example. This is the original video footage. You can get rid of this after you make the CFR in the top or handbrake, not top hat. But yeah, you can get rid of it because you don't need it at this point. But if you still have it, you want to make sure you don't do that one with the CFR, because if you, like Jonathan said, use the original footage, it's just not going to work. So let me minimize this actually. Because as you'll, oh, and I almost made a mistake that I know all of you are going to make. You have to make sure to name your file and do something that's like related to what you're doing.
every
So
time
for mine,
I make a mistake, every freaking time I forget to.
I always forget it. And it's like an existing project. And I'm like, what do you mean existing project? I've never used these files before. But yeah, it's right here at the top left, it's going to say project name. And that's just how Adobe, you know, can have it in their like folder and what it's going to be saved as following this, unless you rename it, which you can't do. So yeah, you want to make sure you name your project name, something appropriate, something that aligns with what you're doing. And then you click create, which will be in the bottom right. And you'll see you have these two videos right here, and they're lined up. And what that does is just it plays it directly after this one ends, the following video will go. And right here, you're going to have your audio tracks on the bottom section, and then your video tracks on the top section.
That's why
And
they're titled A1, 2, 3, and V1, 2, and 3. The A's are audio and the V's are video.
yep,
Just in case
exactly.
you didn't catch that.
Yeah, they're definitely easy to miss, and they obviously, well, not obviously, but they align. So A2, the middle one aligns with V2, and then the A3, the bottom one aligns with the top one, D3. It may be a little confusing, but it's kind of like opposite in a way, with the outside ones coming together to be the same video or file. And you'll notice because these are linked that if I move this one forward or backwards, if I move the video, the audio will move with it, and the same is true for the audio. And what you initially want to do is, when I am first starting a sync, is you want to have a certain point where there's a moment within the video that's easy to line up. It can be either a certain phrase or a certain action, and preferably a combination of the two. And from that, you have a starting point to where you can kind of connect the videos. And as I'm assuming some
Basically,
of you
this is what the
know,
clap is for.
I was just about to say that
Like that's why we do this. It's so that it makes it really easy to line up. Yeah.
if you've been a part of our like data collection, which all of you have, that's the whole reason that we clap, is we learned that mistake at like the first year. So that's why we do the clap. Look for the clap, adjust it to that.
and exactly. And I'll show a little bit later on during this, the like wave patterns in the audio section.
Why don't you just do that right now? Like we're talking about. Let's do it.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Okay, so you can like notice a like clap pattern pretty easily from like a zoomed in thing. And the way you do that, you can do you can zoom in directly just with your like mouse. So I'm doing this on my trackpad right now, just zooming in.
You can
And that
also
will-
zoom with that bar on the bottom. You see the circles that are
Yes,
at the
this one
bottom
as
right
well.
there, that you can zoom in and out using that by dragging those as well.
Exactly. So extending this or making this longer will spread out the like visual depiction of the wavelengths for the audio file as well, or yeah, the audio file as well as the video. And then shortening it will zoom in on it, and it kind of gives more detail and length to these wave patterns. And you can find like certain similar wavelengths that correlate with like the speech if you have it synced up pretty well. But this one's kind of, because it's lower. I'll see if I can find it here. Right here. So a wavelength is pretty consistent. That's going to have a high rise. So it's just going to go immediately from, zero audio to a very high peak, and then it will slowly fall. And so when you're zoomed out, but a little bit, but pretty zoomed in at this point, and look at the bar compared to where it was before, you'll see this like very quick jump. It's almost like vertical, and then a steady and consistent fall from that. And it almost looks like a right triangle. That's what I think of, like something like that. And these are consistent with almost any clap you're going to have. It looks similar in here with a little zoomed out, but once you zoom in, it's a little harder because the highs kind of expand over that period. But anyways, let me make both of these a little smaller so you can see them simultaneously. Yeah, let's put this here, this here. And now that we can see this, we can see like how the audio aligns with the video. So these are not exactly synced right now. So you may hear at this moment, I don't know if my audio is aligned, but
I don't think we can hear it.
oh, okay. Then I want to see if that's an option. If not, then it's something you'll see with practice.
Well,
Um,
you didn't press play, so we definitely didn't hear it because it didn't go.
Oh, the audio. Okay, well, I'll try that, but the audio will still go when you like hover over and scroll over it too. If you hold this part right here.
We probably need to hear your audio. There's probably some sort of like screen share or something
Okay, I can.
Just
I
click
think you have
play.
to, I think
Share
you have to tell
sound.
it to do
Click
desktop
play.
audio or something, right?
Wait, tell me if you can hear this right here.
All right, so
Yes, we can hear that. That's
Okay,
what
perfect.
you just needed to click play.
check on each other, right? All right, so
So right there, just like it shows on the audio file, you can see the clap, and you can see the clap in the video going on. Jonathan's hands are coming together, and as you go later on in this video from the other audio file that we have, you're going to hear the clap for the iPad. You're not going to be able to see it because it's only footage from the iPad, but you're going to hear the clap as well, right there. And this is usually what I use as my starting point for both HoloLens and iPad footage is the clap. And I would recommend trying to find, based off of the audio file, use that as kind of like your initial, like trying to get a good area where you want to get that lined up at. And you want to zoom in as much as you can to have this as accurate as possible. And you kind of want to have the sudden spike or the initial rise as close as you can get. Depending on the video, they may be a quarter of a frame off, but you can generally get them very close to one another. And as I see, putting this both forward and backward, I can't get any closer. And then if we play that backwards, it's going to sound around the same time. And we can see through the camcorder footage, as we're hearing the synced up clap, we're also witnessing it on the footage.
thank you.
And that compared to what we had originally, something like this, is obviously not linked up at all. And I mean, a reason why this is very helpful is, of course, there's no visual cues or hints you can take from iPad footage about lining it up. So you have to rely solely on audio. The only exception to that is looking at the iPad directly from the camcorder and trying to line that up with the iPad footage, which I would say is definitely harder than, I would say, winding up like easy recognizable audio wavelengths, like, or waves in general, I guess. Audio waves,
Yeah.
like the cup.
Any questions about this?
I know this is, yeah, kind of. There's a good amount to go over, so I don't want to be like too much for sure.
That's why we
Now
clap,
scroll
and
out a
then,
bit because
like, what you can do after that, I'm just trying to like speed us along a little bit because we're spending a lot of time here. This is all like super good information, and this will be really helpful. Like, find the clap and then align them. You just kind of drag them along. If you then zoom out, you can see like where the videos have been adjusted, and you can see that the video footage has been like adjusted as well, not just the audio. And that's important too, because you don't want like the audio and video to not be like synced. Like if you move them to align them, the videos will sync as well.
Yep. And there may become situations or times, it's a little complicated, we won't get into it, but there will be times where you may have to unlink your video and audio footage.
yeah, don't scare him yet. No. Let's just,
Oh, okay, never mind. Okay. And now you want to also go through the video, of course, and what I recommend is listening to all of the different participants and the voices and hearing how they sync up, because I found that sometimes like Candace or Jonathan will be perfectly in sync, and maybe one of the participants as well, but one of the participants potentially due to the location next to a microphone, sounds a little bit different compared to the rest of them. So just be conscientious of that and understand that, like, even though you may have the clap synced up and Jonathan or Juliana, Candace, or whoever sounds perfectly lined up, that doesn't necessarily mean that for everyone. So it's definitely something to take into account. And
put the freaking clap in, and I'm the one. I know. I'm the one.
oh, I forgot I put it back. I should have done that. Yeah.
It's off sync.
Right. Yeah, I think I brought back the claps on accident. Okay. I think I was trying to show an example of what they would sound like if they weren't in sync.
Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't clap right.
Yeah, it's about, I think, where I had it last time.
So you'll just watch through the whole video after you think you have had it, like you have it synced, and then you'll just double check that you do. So once you get the audio and video, like where you think it's pretty good, you'll just like press play at the beginning and listen and watch and make sure that you have it synced. Also, you want to make sure that at the videos, like up top, how Jason put them side by side, you want to do that obviously, because you want to be able to see the participants and what they're doing on the iPad. So it's important that you should know that, like, if they're synced as well, because if they're talking about a sphere and parallelogram is on the screen, then obviously something's wrong. So we want them side by side as well, just so you get both views. And that's the same for all of them, not just like this is the iPad example, but you'll do that same thing for AR and VR as well.
Yeah, so that's a great point. So outside of making sure that the audio is in sync and going through and just making sure that's true for all participants, you definitely want to be making sure that the videos are lined up and the audio is linked with the video. It's potential for them to get out of sync, like the video may be ahead a bit or the audio may be ahead a bit. And so you want to make sure that you catch that while you're going through and listening, and just confirming that everything's in sync for the audio. There's other things you want to be conscientious of and consider.
All right, what
And-
show us about how to get the screens and stuff. Yeah, oh yeah, and then you want to save, by the way, once you've got everything synced, like this is a good time to save.
For
So,
sure.
yeah.
Let's
So,
save.
Also, we
Um,
can show them how to improve the audio if we need. I mean, theoretically, hopefully now, like for the study 2 data, we have better audio with the microphones and everything. But I don't know if there's
Yes.
any at the beginning that still have like messed up audio.
So
yeah, that's like a whole other thing, honestly. Like, yeah. So, and
If
then,
there's an
and
audio
frankly, like
issue-
I feel like it's been less of a problem that once we have the good audio. And so, I don't know about like Jason, do you keep like the iPad audio in? Like sometimes I find myself or like keeping it kind of muted or something, or like I generally, when I've done these, like just lean very much on the like the camcorder audio because it's so much better.
because they have the I was just saying, I don't know, are they gonna be, this is just general information, that's like part of why we put the mics on them now, because it's super helpful. But you can, like down there where it says A1 A2, if one of them like is really great audio, you can just mute the other one, so you don't have to try to like sync them, you just mute it. Like if the microphones are good enough, then you don't need the other one. But if there is messed up audio, like this is just like a note, just that's helpful for there's the audio 1, 2, and 3. And if you press play, they'll move. That'll show you the audio, and you can like toggle the little dials up and down to make them like louder. If people are muffled, which is something we had a problem with for the study 1 data. And I don't remember if we had that for the study 2 data.
it's not
Not as
common, I
much.
feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also situations where sometimes like one of your audio channels is like good for a while and then the other one is good for a while. And so sometimes you can actually cut them so that like, okay, you know, audio one is good for this little piece, so I'm going to use it. So you would actually like put little cuts and then you can like mute then you have to like add a volume thing and then change the volume.
Again, though, like we said, YouTube is a great resource. Like
Yeah,
if
yeah,
something
it can get
happens, like,
complicated fast, but like, yeah.
YouTube is great. So that's just a note, but we don't need to like really harp on that. If an audio situation comes up, also just let us know or YouTube it. YouTube might know more than we do. So
The audio stuff is harder than it seems too. Like, and there's a reason that they pay audio engineers a lot of money. Like it can be hard to, yeah.
so yeah, okay. Anyways, we can move on and do the screens.
Yeah,
Weird.
so for starters, we want to flip these around. You should have the iPad footage on the left-hand side and then the camcorder footage on the right side for our iPad. Let me move this again. I think this is probably a good spot right here. Actually, maybe I'll just minimize that. Okay, so you're gonna want to have you'll quickly notice, and this is before doing any other adjustments. There's a lot of empty space right here. And so what you're gonna want to do as well is have a second additional camcorder video in your sync, which is pretty easy to do. You're just gonna Control C while you're holding this, Control C. Or you can also double click it or right click and do copy. And then you'll get to the end of your footage, go to a point where there's no longer any video. If you do, it's gonna interrupt the video you have already in that track. So just go ahead to a point where you don't have any video, and then Control V or paste the video you have. And I personally just like to have these two next to each other, so I'm gonna lift this up one more. Put this right here in the middle. Oh, actually, one more thing. Well, this is important to point out, but if you notice, I actually have at this point now two of the same audio tracks. I have two Cam A's, and the reason you don't want this, although it may seem like it's a non-issue because it's the same audio, what it's going to do is it's going to duplicate the audio.
I know, I'm the one that
and it's going to overwhelm the audio you have from the iPad and kind of like double your Cam A, and it's gonna make Cam A's audio dominate in a way that you're not gonna want. You're gonna want some type of balance in terms of the volume. So it's just gonna double everything in a mark. Okay. So before you line those up, it doesn't it's fine, I can just take this already out, but I just want to do it before I even line it up. You want to first unlink these. You can do this with either the audio or the video. And the reason is if you try to delete the audio, it's going to delete the video as well. So in order to avoid that, just unlink them. And now I can make edits or remove the audio file without all affecting the video. And then
now it's funny that I didn't know you did that. Like, I usually leave it in and I just mute it.
I was just about to say, or you can
like
just
what
click
Juliana
mute.
was saying, yeah. So
like that little mute button right there, the like microphone that's right to the left, right there. You can just click that and that will mute the audio. So if you like select the two, you can just mute one and leave it. Just make sure that you mute it. So either way works.
Yeah, both.
The M.
Yeah, both do exactly the same thing. It's honestly your preference either way. And the only reason I remove it is just because it's less to like look over, and I like you know, I don't know. It honestly either is perfectly fine.
Less visually cluttered.
Yeah, exactly.
One less thing to remember too, like one less thing you could accidentally forget to click the mute button. But dealer's choice. Exactly.
And
show them how to Zoom with this extra one. They're probably like, why do we have two videos?
Yeah, great time to show that. So
also just a note, like all of this that he's doing because this is the iPad specific that we're showing you. but all of this, like where the videos like go, is the same for AR or
Yeah,
VR, like mostly. I mean, there's no
Yeah.
iPad screen, obviously, so like that's different, but like all of the audio syncing and all of that is the same. Like the clap, all that, how there'll be multiple audios, it's the same.
So because I copied and pasted, it's also going to copy and paste all the position, scale, all of these are going to be copied over and duplicated. So it has the same position. So right now, even though it looks like we have one, we actually have two, one over the other because they have the exact same position. And so what I do, so you're gonna have this top one as just regular footage. And the second one, you're gonna have it zoomed in on the iPad. And so what I do is I go to my effects right here, because there's currently, well, I'll show you. So you're gonna go to effects first. It's gonna be in this bottom left corner, and you're gonna hit these two arrows. And then once you're in effects, you're gonna go down to video effects, double click it. And this will have all of the additional effects that you can add to your video, and it's gonna put them right here to the video you're selected on in the effect controls. The effect controls are only gonna come with like a set default, and it's rather limited. So for this section, you're gonna have to add this, which is gonna be the bottom left under effects. And if I can find it, we're gonna do transform. Double click that again. It's gonna show you a variety of different things you can edit with the video. I'm gonna add crop. I'm gonna double click that. And now it's gonna have crop here for my video. One thing you wanna note is that while the crop is available here, my effect controls for this specific cam A, the middle one, if I go to my cam A, my other cam A, it's no longer there. So it's only going to apply to the video you have selected at the time that you add it. So if you're worried about potentially not having an effect there that you added previously, just go over effects again and add it just for the video you have. Because most likely what
Make sure you've
happened-
clicked on the right video, because yes, I've
Yeah.
done that about a million times.
For sure. And so at first it says all 0% with indicators left, top, right, and bottom. And let's say I hit 10% left. What that does is it removes 10% of the left edge or the left side of the video. And we can see now video is 10% shorter, or not shorter, less wide. And that's due to removing this 10%. I can increase that to 50, and half the video is gone. And as you'd assume, all the way to 100, it's gone completely. And what you're going to want to take into account when you're using these is what's the subject matter? What's the thing that you want to maintain and keep in the video? And in this case, it's going to be this iPad. So you want to go through here and take into account the position of the iPad with the screen, and start thinking of, you can start thinking of them all at the same time, your left, top, right, and bottom crops, or you can do it individually, whatever seems easier. I would definitely recommend for your first time getting used to Adobe, just thinking about one at a time. So thinking about what's the leftmost this iPad goes. I'm gonna extend this out a little bit. And then it's acting a little slow, I think, because of the zoom and the sharing screen, but you can go through these at a little faster speed. And just keeping in mind where the iPad is as it relates to the left edge. And
My dog has decided to make a guest appearance.
lovely.
Well, now he's bearing us.
I have my thing on, I can't even see.
This is
Oh, I
Phoenix.
love that.
He's huge.
What type of dog is he? What breed is he?
He's a hound dog. He's black and gold. You can't really tell. He's got his cute little bandana on him.
Oh, I love that.
Anyway, sorry, that wasn't relevant, but I could
Oh, no worries
his
at all.
face keeps popping up. So I thought I'd show him off. He wanted to be a part of the Zoom.
He
Not
wants to
relevant,
learn
but
too,
important.
Brianna. He wants to learn too.
He's a cutie. Okay, anyways, sorry, go ahead, Jason.
Oh, no worries at all. No worries at all. We'll have the guest
So
appearance.
zoom it. Just do it. Just show them, yeah, what it's gonna look like at the end.
Okay, so you're gonna take off some of. I'm just gonna just ballpark this, just looking at it. That's just a rough estimate of keeping the iPad within the thing. And then you're going to increase your scale over here. You want to make sure, of course, that there isn't part of the video coming off. And one thing that messes me all the time is the fact that it maintains the original dimensions of the video, even despite the crop. So keep that in mind. So let's say I'm over here and I'm trying to click. Okay, I'm getting off topic, but just yeah, if you try to click this video, it's actually going to click this one because it's taking into account the crop section of that video. But we're going to make this bigger, bigger, bigger. Well, too big. And with those crops in that increased scale, it's basically the idea of zooming. That's how I like to do zooming personally. That way I can have direct influence and control over where the edges are and what's in the video and what's not. And I can make changes to that as necessary. That's your best. Yeah, that's how you
And then
zoom.
basically, and then you would hit the top right. Like, and so assume that you've got like everything like nice and it looks good and everything. And then you would hit export up at the top. And it would, or how do you do it? I do
For the
the
export?
the little box with the arrow coming out of it.
For the final product, I just do export when I'm finished.
That's so funny. I like trained you and you do things very differently than I do. I was like, sounds like YouTube trained you. That's fine.
And should I show them like cropping and stuff like that? I mean, that's pretty easy though.
I think.
I mean, I feel like we
let's do that,
see
and
like, and
then-
you see the kind of like where it looks and stuff, and but basically like with the iPad, like because you have too much room to just do stuff side by side. So like what we kind of figured out is that it's nice to have this thing, the outward zoom, and then a zoom in on just the hands and what they're doing. Yeah. So like that's just kind of how we use it. So it looks a little weird, but I think it uses all of the video space that you have relatively well. So, but yeah, and then you export it.
Jason, when you're saying to do the cropping, what do you mean by that?
Oh, not cropping. I meant like clipping, like having a like let's say you want to have like a start that one doesn't have this one coming in later, and you want to do it from like right before whoever's providing the instructions. So like right here, and you would just cut these and you would go to the end of the same thing. But that I don't think is really necessary.
I mean,
That one's one of the.
it takes like 2 seconds. You can like you're talking about literally just dragging it like shorter that literally clips it. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
so like just shortening it and taking off whatever you don't need on the front end and the back end, and then just having them balance out.
Yeah,
And
so if you just, I mean, that takes 2 seconds. So if you just hover over like the end of it, like of the audio clip or video clip, there should be like a box. Stop, Phoenix. He keeps nudging my hand because he wants me to pet him. So if you hover over it, it has like that bar, and if you drag it, that clips it, that cuts it shorter. That's it.
Yep.
It's that simple. It's not a difficult thing, but you can do it from either end. And that will shorten it from either side. If you're trying to cut the video and like make them 2 separate audios, then that's a little different.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
to
you
crop it or cut it, it's super easy.
I learned
Yeah.
something. I didn't know. I cut it with just the cutting tool. Like that's cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can do both. That's I actually I think I'm just used to like cutting it.
Yeah.
And this is like a little shortcut. You just hit C. So you can do this also by, let's see which one it is. It's gonna be on the left hand.
It's a little razor thing. So it's
Yeah.
that. Yeah, there it is.
And you can get back to your like just regular mouse by V, and then you can get to this razor blade either by hitting it or doing C, and you can just do a straight line. Oh, that wasn't even a straight line. I don't know why that happens. And then you go to your V, and then you can just go like that. Or the other way you can do this is, like Juliana said, you can go to the edge of this and hover over it. It's going to show a thing that influences the duration and just can lengthen it if you have it cut, and shorten it. And you want to hover over it until the arrow on it is pointing to the left. If you do it to the right, that's going to extend it out, but we already have it extended out to its max. So you want to have it this, and just cut as much as you want off. And you can do that for the other videos as well. And notice how I'm doing this. It's also doing it for the corresponding video. Yeah, so that's both are same thing. The one thing that's nice about not using the razor tool is if I take this off, and let's say I do a bunch of other steps and I'm like, oh, I want to bring this back. I can't simply Control V if I use the razor, but if you use it this way, you can just add it back at any moment. Whereas if I do C and then get that out of here.
That's why I normally just do
Gone
it that
forever.
way, as it doesn't like permanently get rid of it. You can like crop it to where you don't need it, but then if you realize, oh shoot, wait, actually I need like 2 seconds, like I cut it too short, then you just drag it back out by 2 seconds and it's there.
That's nice
So,
because I've done that
yeah.
before. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
It
the
helps
worst.
shorten it. It's
No,
not
it's nice.
like, yeah. And then
Yeah.
especially if you're like, if you cut it, then you can just crop everything else to match up to it. And it's just as easy as using the razor. But yeah, I think that's kind of all that we have, right? Like,
Yeah, that's it. That was
I
it.
think I want to
How
like
we,
respect y'all's time. 'Cause it's
questions?
already
How we doing?
4:30.
I mean, it's kind of time to be done, but yeah.
It's I wanted to let y'all go. It's 4:36. If y'all have any questions, y'all can ask right now or like write them down and we can, ooh, just glitched. You can write them down and we can talk about them next week, because we're gonna do this again next week and we'll go into like other ones. This was like the iPad one, so you guys hopefully got good information out of this. I'll upload this onto Box so you guys have it as like a resource. Next week, I guess maybe we'll do AR, one of the AR ones.
Yeah, we're gonna do a simple AR one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we
maybe
decided,
the
and then
third
for week
we'll try to do
3,
some of the like complicated ones of
Yeah.
like having to stitch them and all that. But next week will just be another one like this.
yeah, and we saved
So-
309 and 310, that little nightmare fuel thing that we had. That was, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Yeah. So
Well, okay. So any questions from any of y'all like right now at the moment? Michelle? Okay, cool. All right. Well, then I'll let you guys go. Have a great weekend. Happy Friday. And
if you were feeling just a
See you
tiny
next
bit
week.
lost with the Premiere stuff, that means, hey, you need to watch an intro video on Premiere. Like, that's what that means. Okay. So anyway.
all right. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys all next.
Thank you.
Have a good one.